On September 30th, 2025, all of Hollywood was shaken. Nicole Kidman, the woman who once melted millions of hearts with her gentle smile and dazzling on-screen brilliance, had officially filed for divorce from Keith Urban, closing nearly 2 decades of a love once praised as eternal. Fans had long believed they were living proof that love could weather every storm, that Keith had been redeemed from his past of addiction through Nicole's guiding hand and compassionate heart. Yet, beneath that calm exterior, cracks had begun to spread in silence. A third shadow emerged, and that betrayal struck like a knife, carving deep into her heart. On those long, lonely nights inside their Nashville mansion, where she witnessed with her own eyes Keith wrapped around a young singer on their wedding bed, Nicole endured an agony beyond words. And despite enduring countless storms in her marriage, Nicole Kidman never lost her composure. Behind the stage lights stands an intelligent woman, one who invests wisely and commands one of the most formidable fortunes in all of Hollywood. So, what truly brought down that wall of love, and what does Nicole Kidman's life look like now, all will be revealed in today's video. Nicole Mary Kidman was born in 1967 in Honolulu, Hawaii, during a brief work trip taken by her parents, 2 ambitious Australian researchers with lofty dreams. Her father, a psychologist and academic novelist, and her mother, a nurse and social activist, built an intellectual household in Sydney where books, music, and discipline ruled. But behind those walls of intellect, Nicole grew up like a quiet shadow, a shy little girl imprisoned by her fear of people's gaze and nameless anxieties. From a young age, Nicole was haunted by a crippling fear of social interaction, a nightmare that made her tremble and blush whenever she had to face a crowd. Her parents called her Smudgy, the little girl who always hid behind the door, peeking at the world through a narrow crack, as if the sunlight outside were something dangerous. Yet within that isolation, an inner world of pain began to form. While other children played carefree on the streets, Nicole locked herself in the living room, transforming into imagined characters, whispering lines to herself, practicing her voice, and expressions her own way of escaping a harsh reality. Nicole's childhood was surrounded by anxiety and loss. At 13, her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, a blade that cut deeply into her fragile heart. Nicole dropped out of school, setting aside her childhood dreams to care for her mother through long, cold nights at the hospital. In those dim corridors, she found solace in poetry and journaling, her only refuge from grief. "I learned how to hide my wounds," Nicole once said bitterly, "but I also learned how to let them tear me apart." At 16, she stepped on stage for the first time in The Wizard of Oz, playing the dream-filled girl searching for a way home, a role that seemed destined for her, mirroring her own life, a lost soul yearning for a place of peace. That performance opened the door to art, leading Nicole from small shows in Australia to the bright lights of Hollywood through films like Dead Calm and Bangkok Hilton. But even upon reaching the capital of cinema, she was still the innocent girl from Sydney, no drinking, no scandals, carrying only a fragile heart and an unquenchable longing to be loved. Hollywood called her the ice princess, serene eyes that concealed an unreachable sadness. Few knew that beneath that poised exterior was a bleeding heart, forever yearning to be understood. Then destiny struck. During the audition for Days of Thunder in 1989, Nicole met Tom Cruise, the man who brought her dazzling light, a spectacular marriage, and also the loneliest years of her life. They became Hollywood's golden couple of the 1990s, adopting 2 children and conquering their careers together, with Nicole eventually winning her first Academy Award. but Tom's brilliance shone too brightly, casting an immense shadow that swallowed her own identity. For 11 years, Nicole lived as a stranger within her own life, her heart slowly freezing inside their lavish home. When the marriage fell apart in 2001, she walked out of the courthouse with a blank face like a shattered statue. In one rare moment of honesty, she confessed her deepest pain. "I was freed from the cage, but I no longer knew who I was." That was the moment Nicole Kidman faced the abyss within herself, a 34-year-old woman broken by divorce, her faith in love crushed within the glittering yet merciless world of Hollywood. She buried herself in work like someone desperately running from pain. The Hours Moulin Rouge, Cold Mountain. Those tear-soaked roles were not just performances, but vessels for her broken heart. Every glance, every line carried real pain, as if she were reliving her wounds on screen. For nearly 5 years, Nicole wandered between the bright lights of the stage and the cold silence of loneliness. Then fate called her name again. Keith Urban, a fellow Australian singer with a warm smile and a weathered guitar, entered her life like a fragile ray of light cutting through the storm. Yet Nicole could never have imagined that this love, seemingly a new chapter of happiness, would turn into the longest and most profound tragedy of her life. Nicole Kidman first met Keith Urban at the G-Day USA Gala in Los Angeles, an event where Australians gathered beneath Hollywood's glow. In that brief moment, their eyes met, and an invisible thread seemed to connect two souls marked by old wounds. A year later, their wedding in Sydney was hailed worldwide as a real-life fairy tale. The church was filled with candlelight. The choir sang a gentle hymn, and Keith held Nicole's hand as he vowed, "I'll be by your side in the light or in the dark." Those vows seemed destined to last forever. But as the years went by, they turned into invisible blades, slowly cutting into the heart of a woman who had once given herself completely to love. The early years of their marriage felt like a dream come true. They divided their time between two worlds, the lush Bunya Hill farm in New South Wales and their peaceful mansion in Nashville, Tennessee. In the mornings, Keith would strum his guitar on the porch while Nicole tended to the late-blooming roses and the laughter of their two daughters. Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret echoed across the fields. At sunset, they would sit together on the wooden steps, the golden light glinting on Keith's hair as Nicole gently leaned her head on his shoulder. When night fell, his guitar blended with her voice, no audience, no stage lights, only the two of them beneath the starry Tennessee sky. Yet beneath that picture of tranquility lay smoldering cracks, dark secrets only the two of them truly knew. Just 4 months after their fairy tale wedding in 2006, Nicole Kidman discovered that Keith Urban had secretly reconnected with his ex-girlfriend model Amanda Wyatt. American tabloids splashed headlines in bold print. Keith called her right after the honeymoon, as if he'd never vowed himself to Nicole. Nicole's heart, already scarred from the collapse of her marriage with Tom Cruise, clenched under the weight of betrayal once more. She who had set aside fame and precious time to build a home now faced the cruel truth that the love she had placed her faith in was nothing more than a fragile illusion. The pain didn't end there. In October of that same year, Keith Urban relapsed into the vicious cycle of substance abuse, the ghost that had haunted him since his youth. With unyielding devotion, Nicole Kidman sacrificed everything to save the man she loved. She quietly staged an intervention, nearly begging Keith to enter treatment at the Betty Ford Center just hours before his flight for a concert tour. Abandoning her film projects at their peak, She stood by him through his darkest days, facing the relentless scrutiny of the public as headlines screamed Keith Urban's hidden addiction. The image of the romantic country star shattered, leaving Nicole standing alone amid a storm of criticism. Behind her forced smiles, she still held on to Keith, believing her love could pull him back from the brink. But in the cold silence of the night, she often wondered if her sacrifice would ever be enough to save a soul already lost. Despite their efforts, the fractures in their marriage only grew deeper. Keith drowned himself in endless tours, marathon recording sessions, and distant TV appearances. Nicole Kidman continued to appear at his shows, wearing her flawless smile for the cameras, even as her heart bled from the emptiness in his gaze. Each transoceanic flight to see him, each lonely night in a hotel room, cost her time, strength, and pride, all spent to keep alive a marriage that was slowly dying. But the growing distance between them turned love into a futile war where two hearts no longer beat as one. Rumors of Keith Urban's affairs with younger female artists began to spread, each word another blade twisting into Nicole's soul. The woman who once rose from heartbreak now faced betrayal's ghost all over again. When photos emerged of Keith sharing a private smile with singer Kelsea Ballerini stepping off his tour bus hand in hand, Nicole's heart shattered into pieces. She stayed silent, struggling to protect the image of her family before the public, though close friends said she often cried alone in her dressing room, clutching her wedding ring, as if it were the last thread of a fading promise. The breaking point came when reports surfaced of a brief affair between Keith and an adult film actress during an unofficial bachelor party, a revelation that destroyed his image as Nashville's perfect gentleman. Each act of forgiveness cost Nicole another piece of her soul, as she kept trying to believe that her love could heal Keith's flaws. But the bitter truth was that he had chosen a reckless path beyond redemption. The situation worsened when Keith Urban dismissed several longtime members of his band people who had once served as a bridge between him and Nicole during their hardest times. At his next concert, he removed "The Fighter," the song he'd once written as a vow to Nicole, from his setlist, and performed on stage without his wedding ring. Every action was another wound carved into Nicole's heart, the heart of a woman who had sacrificed her career and pride to protect him. Photos of Keith laughing carelessly at airports or walking beside young female performers after shows became proof of the collapse of the dream Nicole had spent her life building. Still, she tried to mend what was broken, bringing their daughters to Nashville between Keith's tour stops, sacrificing precious moments of motherhood in hopes of rekindling a flame long extinguished. But despite all her efforts, Keith Urban quietly packed his things and left their shared mansion without a word. It was, as friends described, the point of no return. From that moment on, all of Nicole's efforts dissolved into nothing. And then on September 30th, 2025, Nicole Kidman officially filed for divorce from Keith Urban, closing 19 years of a once glorious dream, now reduced to ashes. She appeared before the Davidson County Court in Tennessee with a calm, almost frightening composure, a faint smile masking the deep fractures within her soul. The filing cited irreconcilable differences, 4 cold words that perfectly encapsulated the tragedy of a love long dead. The public, once in awe of their perfect union, could now only watch in silence as Nicole was granted full custody of their daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret, while Keith was allowed only limited visitation on special holidays. Their vast fortune, from the Nashville mansion to the Sydney estate and the luxurious Los Angeles home, was divided by law, yet nothing could divide or ease the emptiness now consuming Nicole Kidman's heart. And perhaps of all the places that once witnessed their happiness, none haunts Nicole more than the house in Nashville, the home that was once the heart of her family, now echoing only with memories of what used to be. The house in Nashville, Tennessee, once filled with the laughter of a family of 4, now holds only 3 quiet figures moving through its long hallways bathed in the amber light of dusk. It was the mansion that Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban purchased in 2008 during the brightest chapter of their love. The residence, spanning over 10,000 square feet and surrounded by gardens, a pool, and a tennis court, was once the very embodiment of complete happiness. Everything inside, from the warm, golden lights beneath the high ceilings to the honey-toned wooden walls and the antique piano in the living room, still carries the breath of those sweet, distant years. Now, only Nicole and her 2 daughters live within the space that once resonated with Keith's music. Each morning, she's often seen stepping onto the porch with her hair loose, a cup of tea in hand, her gaze drifting across the lake. She rarely wears makeup now, dressed simply in a soft sweater and old jeans, walking slowly along the stone path leading to the garden. The lively parties and Hollywood guests are long gone. Only the wind through the old oak trees and the laughter of her daughters playing on the tennis court break the silence. The mansion remains almost untouched. The kitchen still gleams with polished granite countertops and stainless steel cabinets that glint in the morning light. The living room opens toward the garden, where sunlight falls across a worn Persian rug. In the master bedroom, a cream velvet chair still sits by the window, the very spot where Nicole used to read scripts in the early years of her marriage. Now it's her favorite place in the evenings when the girls are asleep, and the only sound left in the house is the chirping of crickets outside. Locals sometimes spot Nicole driving her silver-gray Range Rover to the market or picking up her daughters from school. They say she still smiles, still greets everyone warmly, but her eyes hold a different kind of light, the look of someone learning how to breathe again after a storm. She no longer has Keith by her side, no bodyguards following her, only her 2 chatty daughters and the quiet peace she had long yearned for. Inside the house, small details reveal the quiet determination of a woman rebuilding her life after heartbreak. Keith's former mini-studio has been transformed into a reading nook for the girls, its walls covered in drawings and family photos. The wedding portraits that once filled the living room have been replaced by images of the 3 of them running across a summer field. And at the center of the home, the old piano once played by 4 loving hands now echoes with the gentle touch of just 1. However, according to recent reports, Nicole Kidman is said to have filed for residency in Portugal in mid-2025, a move that has fueled speculation she's preparing for an entirely new life in Europe. She has been spotted several times in Milides, a coastal region in southern Portugal that's become a magnet for artists and international producers. This small seaside town, often called the New Tuscany, is where white sand meets rolling pine hills and stone villas hidden among olive groves. Many believe Nicole is considering purchasing a villa there as a part-time retreat, a place to rest, read scripts, and plan future independent film projects. A close source revealed she loves hearing the sound of the waves instead of camera shutters. In Milides, Nicole feels like herself again with nothing left to prove. And despite enduring countless storms in marriage and persistent rumors about her private life, Nicole Kidman continues to embody grace and composure. Behind the stage lights stands a sharp-minded woman, a strategic investor, and one of Hollywood's wealthiest stars with an exceptional collection of luxury cars. To Nicole Kidman, every car in her collection carries its own personality, understated, yet powerful, elegant, without excess, much like herself. In her polished, stone-floored garage, soft golden lights shimmer over the smooth curves of her vehicles, with a Bentley Continental GT taking pride of place at the center. Each time the door opens, the subtle scent of handcrafted leather mingles with the warm aroma of walnut wood from the dashboard. The V8 engine purrs deep and steady, as if the car itself were breathing. The luxury here isn't loud or ostentatious. The quiet confidence of the Bentley speaks for itself. Shunning flashy extravagance, Nicole prefers the Mercedes-Maybach S650 for public appearances. Each time it glides out from her Beverly Hills mansion, California sunlight sparkles on its silver coat. The rear cabin is a world of its own, reclining seats, ambient lighting shifting gently through 64 hues, and the soft fragrance of premium leather in the air. The doors close with a whisper so delicate, it almost fades into the breath of silence. And then, amid the flash of hundreds of cameras, when Nicole steps out of the Maybach, the world seems to pause for a brief, spellbinding moment, a perfect embodiment of serenity and power. When she isn't bound by filming schedules or public events, Nicole often drives her own Land Rover, Range Rover, an SUV that perfectly blends British elegance with the rugged soul of the Tennessee countryside. Each morning, when dew still clings to the leaves, the car glides quietly down the narrow path leading to the main road. Inside, the faint aroma of coffee lingers in the cabin, and the gentle hum of the engine sounds like a whisper. Nicole rolls down the window, letting the scent of fresh grass brush her cheeks as the early sun warms her red hair. In that moment, Hollywood feels a world away, leaving only peace and freedom, the two things she cherishes most. Nicole's car collection doesn't stop there. In the northern corner of her garage sits a black metallic Audi A8, its mirror-like body reflecting light like glass. When the V6 turbocharged engine starts, it emits a deep, steady sound that fades quickly into silence. The interior, a fusion of brown leather, oak wood, and soft metallic accents, evokes both warmth and sophistication. During long drives, Nicole often sits quietly listening to the wind slide past the windows, a sound that seems to slow time itself. Alongside it, her BMW 5 Series offers a striking contrast, compact, modern, unpretentious, yet exquisitely refined. It's the car she chooses for workdays where simplicity becomes the highest expression of class. Those close to her say that every morning in Nashville, Nicole drives herself out to buy coffee. She plays a country song, turns down a road blanketed in golden leaves, and opens the window to let the morning breeze weave through her hair. The first rays of sunlight spill across the rearview mirror, casting a soft glow on her serene smile. In a world where most stars are chauffeured everywhere, that image stands out, a billion-dollar actress quietly driving through the dawn, surrounded only by music, the scent of coffee, and the warmth of the wind. No crowd, no cameras yet. She shines in her own way, graceful, free, and profoundly calm. Beyond her collection of elegant, powerful cars, another world of Nicole Kidman emerges, quieter, but deeply captivating, her love for fine watches and high jewelry. If her garage represents freedom and strength, her collection of timepieces and jewelry reveals another side of her, a woman of precision who treasures time and treats beauty as a living language. Nicole Kidman is a global ambassador for Omega A partnerships spanning more than 15 years and regarded as one of the most enduring collaborations between a prestigious Swiss brand and a Hollywood icon. Unlike many ambassadors who simply promote a label, Nicole is a true watch enthusiast. In an interview with S Magazine, she once said, "I don't see a watch as just an accessory. Each one tells a story, a moment I want to remember forever." At international events, Nicole often chooses classic, understated pieces rather than flashy designs. One of her favorites is the Omega Constellation Small Seconds 34 Mirror in 18K set in gold, with a diamond bezel and a luminous mother-of-pearl dial. She wore this model at a 2023 event in Switzerland paired with a champagne satin gown, creating a look that was both timeless and modern. The shimmer of diamonds on her wrist mingled with her soft, reserved smile, giving every photograph a quiet kind of allure, luxurious, yet never ostentatious. Her love of fine craftsmanship extends beyond watches. At the 2025 Golden Globes, Nicole appeared in a sleek black Dior gown, pairing her diamond-studded Omega timepiece with a Boucheron jewelry set inspired by nature, an emerald and diamond necklace, and matching earrings. Fashion critics called it a perfect harmony of time and art, while Nicole simply smiled and said, "I choose jewelry the same way I choose a role it has to say something about how I feel." She has also collaborated with Cartier and Harry Winston for magazine shoots, though she always remains true to her signature style, elegant minimalist, and focused on highlighting natural beauty rather than flaunting wealth. Off the red carpet, Nicole prefers lighter, vintage-inspired pieces, pearl earrings, sapphire rings, or rose gold bracelets, subtle details that reflect her inner depth and refined sensibility. Those close to her reveal that Nicole's jewelry box doesn't just hold million-dollar gems, but also a vintage watch left to her by her late father, a piece she always carries on long trips. "It's not expensive, but it holds my father's time. I wear it whenever I need to feel him close," she shared in an interview with Marie Claire UK. It's that interplay between memory and time that makes her passion for watches more profound than ever. And of course, behind these exquisite collections lies a powerful financial empire, one that reflects Nicole Kidman's exceptional standing in the world of Hollywood. Now in her mid-50s, she remains firmly at the top of her career, with an estimated net worth of around $250 million, the result of 4 decades of relentless work-sharp intellect and an unmatched ability to turn every role and project into a personal hallmark. The foundation of Nicole Kidman's financial empire is naturally her acting career. Since the 1990s, from Days of Thunder to The Hours Moulin Rouge and Big Little Lies, her paychecks have risen steadily. Between 2019 and 2020 alone, she earned over $22 million, including $10 million from Netflix's The Prom and $1 million per episode for HBO's The Undoing. To date, her total acting income exceeds $350 million, a figure that commands respect even among Hollywood veterans. What sets her apart is her selectivity. Every role carries both artistic and commercial weight, allowing her to maintain her credibility as a serious actress while remaining a box office guarantee for studios. Her second major source of income comes from film and television production, a field she entered in the early 2010s. Through her company Blossom Films, she has produced multiple acclaimed projects such as Big Little Lies, 9 Perfect Strangers, and The Undoing. Beyond acting, she serves as an executive producer, benefiting from royalties, back-end profits, and international distribution deals. She also invests in exclusive content for platforms like Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime, and Netflix projects, in which she not only stars, but also holds equity. It's a smart strategy that extends her influence beyond acting and places her among Hollywood's most powerful producers. Another significant stream of revenue comes from endorsements, image rights, and personal brand collaborations. In 2003, she became the face of Chanel No. 5, earning over $12 million for a single campaign, at the time the most lucrative advertising deal ever for an actress. This was followed by partnerships with luxury giants such as Omega Jimmy Choo Etihad Airways, Neutrogena Balenciaga, and more recently, wellness and sustainable beauty brands like Salabs. In addition to her upfront fees, Nicole continues to earn royalties and residual income whenever her campaigns are re-aired or repurposed digitally, a steady passive stream that ensures her star power shines far beyond the screen. Beyond her work in the arts, Nicole Kidman has also proven herself to be a shrewd and sophisticated investor in real estate and personal finance. Her property portfolio spans from the United States to Australia, with a total value reaching tens of millions of dollars. From her sunlit Beverly Hills estate to her serene Tennessee farmhouse, from her Sydney penthouse overlooking the harbor to her luxurious New York duplex, each residence reflects her refined lifestyle and remarkable foresight. In addition to real estate, Nicole has invested in independent art funds and holds equity in several entertainment companies across Australia and the United States. These ventures, combined with her royalties, film profits, and ambassador contracts, form a sustainable financial ecosystem, one where art and business coexist in perfect harmony. Thanks to her prudence and long-term vision, Nicole Kidman is not only an A-list actress, but also one of Hollywood's most successful artistic entrepreneurs, a woman who has turned fame into fortune and fortune into freedom. Alongside her financial success, Nicole Kidman is also recognized as one of Hollywood's most enduring figures in philanthropy. She does not engage in charity for the sake of display. For her, it is a natural extension of life, a way to give back to the world that has given her so much. From the moment she reached the peak of fame, Nicole chose to use her voice for greater causes: gender equality, education, mental health, and human rights. As early as 1994, at the height of her career, Nicole became a Goodwill Ambassador for UNICEF, working on campaigns to protect children in impoverished regions of Africa and Asia. She helped raise funds, secure sponsorships, and personally visited disadvantaged communities, especially those affected by war and poverty. The image of Nicole Kidman sitting simply among laughing children in Cambodia or Tanzania has become a symbol of compassion, a star unafraid to step away from the spotlight to listen and to care. In 2006, she was appointed Goodwill Ambassador for UN Women, formerly UNIFEM, focusing on the fight against violence toward women. Nicole not only spoke at international conferences, but also delivered aid met survivors and offered personal encouragement to victims of abuse. In 2008, she and UN Women launched the global campaign Say No, Unite to End Violence Against Women, and presented a petition to the United Nations with more than 5 million signatures calling for an end to gender-based violence. Her commitment went far beyond public speeches. Nicole personally donated $500,000 to the UN Women Trust Fund money that helped rebuild support centers for victims of violence across multiple countries. In one interview, she said, "I've spent my career telling women's stories on screen. Now I want to help them tell their own." That spirit of compassion was in many ways inherited from her father, Dr. Anthony Kidman, a renowned psychologist in Sydney. After his passing, Nicole established a foundation in his name to fund mental health research centers and programs that help women overcome depression and trauma caused by abuse. She is also a major benefactor of the Jean Haley's Foundation for Women's Health, an institute dedicated to medical research focused on the well-being of middle-aged and older women. Her generosity extends far beyond global causes. Nicole quietly supports local communities as well. In Tennessee, where she has lived for many years, she funds small art schools and scholarship programs for students passionate about acting. In Sydney, she contributes to nursing homes where elderly women, many of whom once adored the red-haired girl, find joy in watching movies, listening to music, and talking with her. Most of these donations are never publicized, as they are often made through anonymous charitable funds. Together with Keith Urban, she once made a significant contribution to the Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center in the United States, supporting clinical research on breast cancer, the disease her mother battled for many years. They also funded the Cycling Without Age organization in Australia, which gives seniors and people with disabilities the chance to experience the outdoors, freedom, and the joy of life. In 2018, Nicole Kidman was honored by the United Nations for her enduring dedication to advancing women's rights worldwide. The press called her the Star of Compassion, a simple title that perfectly captures her essence. In a world where many chase the light to be seen, Nicole chooses to be the quiet flame that shines for others. For her, fame has never been the destination, it is merely a tool to spread kindness. And perhaps that is the greatest role of Nicole Kidman's life, the role of a woman who uses her light to warm the darkest corners of the world. At 57, Nicole Kidman stands not only as proof of timeless beauty and one of Hollywood's most accomplished careers, but also as a symbol of a woman's ability to be reborn after heartbreak. She has endured 2 marriages filled with tears, faced betrayal, loneliness, and silent nights. Yet she rose again, serene, dignified, and stronger than ever. Now, whether surrounded by the warm wooden walls of her Nashville home or the gentle sea breeze of Portugal, Nicole lives a quiet life, free of noise, free of scandal, but full of peace. She no longer needs to prove anything to the world because the way she lives, loves, and embraces loss already speaks louder than words. Nicole Kidman is a reminder that even with a broken heart, a woman can rise and shine not because of anyone else, but because of the light that comes from within. She is a star, a mother, a storyteller, and above all, a testament to the enduring power of grace. Thank you for watching until the end of today's video. If you found this story compelling, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episodes exploring the real lives behind Hollywood's glittering lights. See you in the next video where we'll continue to uncover the destiny, secrets, and journeys of cinema's greatest legends.